I killed 23 Apache warriors in 20 years of service. Never thought the 24th would be the one I'd save. Picture this, partner. December night, 1886. Snow falling thick as cotton on the Mogollon Rim. I'm sitting by my fire, nursing a bottle of rye, when I hear something that makes my blood freeze. Horse screaming. Not the sound of an animal in pain, the sound of death itself. I grab my Spencer rifle and step into that bitter Arizona cold. What I found out there, well, it changed everything. A young Apache woman, maybe 28, lying in the snow next to her dead horse. Arrow in her shoulder. Blood painting the white ground red. Her buckskin dress torn, clinging to curves that would make a saint forget his prayers. Now, any sensible man would have walked away. Apache meant trouble in those days. But when she looked up at me with those dark eyes, proud, defiant, beautiful as a summer storm, I knew I was already lost. Sometimes the dumbest decisions we make turn out to be the most important ones of our lives. What would you have done, stranger? Before we ride deeper into this tale, why don't you hit that like button and tell me in the comments where you're listening from? This old cowboy's got plenty more stories where this one came from. I carried her inside my cabin, and that's when she surprised me. She spoke English, perfect English. "You're the one they call the ghostwriter," she said, looking right through me. "The cavalry sergeant who killed Chief Iron Wolf." My hands froze on the bandage I was wrapping around her shoulder. Iron Wolf. I remembered him. Brave warrior. Died fighting at Canyon Creek 2 years back. My bullet through his heart. "You know who I am," I said. "I know." Her voice was steady. No fear. Iron Wolf was my husband. Partner. I've stared down charging cavalry. Faced grizzly bears with nothing but a knife, but nothing prepared me for the weight of those words. Here I was, patching up the wife of a man I'd killed. The irony wasn't lost on me, or her. "Why aren't you trying to gut me with that skinning knife on the table?" I asked. She studied my face for a long moment. "Because you're not the monster they said you were. A monster wouldn't have carried me in from the snow." Over the next few days, she told me her story. Name was Ayana, means eternal blossom in Apache. After Iron Wolf died, she became a burden to the tribe. No children, no husband to hunt for her. But the real reason they cast her out? She'd refused to marry old Nalnish, the medicine man who wanted to claim her as his third wife. "He said I carried bad spirits," she said, grinding herbs for her wound. Truth was, I carried knowledge he feared. I watched her work, those graceful hands, knowing exactly which plants would heal, which would kill. The way she moved, like water flowing over stone. Every gesture deliberate, beautiful. I found myself stealing glances at the curve of her waist, the way her hair fell across her shoulder when she leaned forward. We started working together. I taught her about the white man's world, how to cook on a proper stove, read English letters. She taught me about hers, which berries were safe to eat, how to track game in fresh snow, the old stories her grandmother had told her. One morning, I was chopping wood when a black bear wandered too close to the cabin. 300 pounds of muscle and claws, hungry after a long winter. I reached for my rifle, but Ayana stepped between us, speaking in Apache, calm as you please. That bear looked at her, snorted once, and ambled back into the forest. "How the hell did you do that?" I asked. She smiled, first real smile I'd seen from her. I told him we were family. Bears understand family. That night, sitting by the fire, she asked me about the war, about the men I'd killed. I told her the truth, all of it. The blood, the screams, the faces that haunted my dreams. She listened without judgment, occasionally reaching over to touch my hand when the memories got too heavy. You carry their spirits with you, she said. That's why you live alone. You think you don't deserve peace. She was right, of course. But having her there, it felt like maybe I could find some peace after all. We were getting closer, and I don't just mean friendship. The way she'd brush against me when passing salt at dinner. How I'd catch her watching me when she thought I wasn't looking. The night she asked me to help her wash her hair, her fingers lingering on mine as I worked the soap through those long, black strands. You could leave any time, I told her one evening. Nothing's keeping you here. She was mending one of my shirts, needle moving in steady rhythm. Nothing except choice, she said, not looking up. 2 months passed like that. The snows melted. Green started showing on the mountains. I was starting to think maybe this could work. Me and her, building something real together. Then they came. 5 Apache warriors rode up to my cabin one morning in late February. I recognized the leader, Nish, the medicine man she'd refused. Old bastard had a face like a dried apple and eyes full of hate. The woman belongs with her people, he called out in broken English. I stepped onto my porch, Spencer rifle in hand. Ayanna came out behind me, chin raised, defiant as ever. She belongs wherever she chooses, I said. Nish laughed, ugly sound like bones rattling. She carries curse, brings death to all who touch her. Already she has poisoned you, white man. Only poison I see is you, I replied. The old man's eyes narrowed. Give her to us, or we take her, and burn your house. Now, partner, let me ask you something. What's a man supposed to do in that situation? I had 5 armed warriors against my 1 rifle. Good odds for starting a war, bad odds for staying alive. But when I looked at Ayanna, saw the fear she was trying to hide, hell, there wasn't really a choice at all. You want her? You go through me first. I raised the Spencer, chambered around. The sound echoed off the canyon walls like thunder. That's when Ayanna stepped forward. She spoke in rapid Apache, her voice strong, clear. I didn't understand the words, but I understood the tone. She was calling them out, challenging them. Nalnish's face went pale. He spoke back, angry, gesturing at her belly. Her belly. Then I saw it. The slight swell beneath her buckskin dress. The way she'd been tired lately, sick in the mornings. The protective way she'd started holding her stomach. She was pregnant. 4 months along. Maybe more. Iron Wolf's child, she said in English, looking straight at the old medicine man. The son you said would never come. The warriors looked at each other, uncertainty flickering in their eyes. A child from beyond the grave, that meant something to them. Something powerful. Nalnish sputtered, tried to regain control. Lies. Tricks. But Ayanna wasn't done. She pulled something from around her neck, Iron Wolf's medicine bundle, the one he'd worn into battle. He gave me this before he rode to Canyon Creek, said if anything happened to him, his spirit would return. In his child. I have to admit, partner, I was impressed. She was playing them like a fiddle, using their own beliefs against them. Smart woman, smarter than any of us gave her credit for. The youngest warrior spoke up, voice respectful. If the child lives, Iron Wolf's spirit lives. The child lives, Ayanna said firmly. And chooses to stay with the white man who showed honor to its mother. They argued among themselves in Apache for nearly an hour. Finally, Nalnish spat in the dust and mounted his horse. We go, he said, but curse follows you both. Death comes to all who defy the spirits. Death comes to everyone eventually, I called back, but it doesn't come today. After they rode off, Ayanna and I went back inside. We sat at the table, not speaking for a long time. Is it true? I finally asked. About the child? She placed her hand on her belly, nodded. Iron Wolf's son, due in late summer. I should have felt jealous, maybe. Another man's child, another man's legacy. But looking at her sitting there, proud and brave and beautiful, all I felt was protective. That child would have a father, maybe not by blood, but by choice. We'll need to build a bigger cabin, I said. She smiled then, that real smile that lit up the whole room. Yes, we will. Spring came early that year. We worked side by side, adding rooms, preparing for the baby. I taught Ayana to shoot the Spencer, just in case. She taught me Apache lullabies, songs to calm a crying child. Evenings we'd sit on the porch, watching the sun set over the canyon. She'd rest her head on my shoulder, my hand on her growing belly, feeling the baby kick. Those were the best moments of my life, partner. Pure peace. Do you think Iron Wolf would approve? She asked me one night. I thought about it. I think he'd want his child to grow up safe and loved. If that's with me, yeah, I think he'd approve. And your wife? Would she approve? My wife, Sarah. Dead 3 years from consumption, buried in a little cemetery outside Fort Apache. Sarah always said home was where love lived. I think she'd understand. The baby came in August, during a thunderstorm that shook the whole mountain. I delivered that boy myself. These old hands bringing new life into the world for the first time. When he took his first breath, wailed his protest at being born, I felt something break open in my chest. Love, pure and simple. Ayana named him Joseph Iron Wolf. Joseph for the white world he'd have to navigate. Iron Wolf for the Apache blood in his veins. We called him Joey. That boy grew up strong and smart, speaking both English and Apache, walking between two worlds with the confidence of someone who belonged to both. He'd ride on my shoulders while I checked the cattle, listen wide-eyed to Ayana's stories about his father the warrior. When he was old enough to ask, I told him the truth. How his father died, how his mother came to me, how love can grow in the strangest places. Are you my father? He asked, maybe 6 years old, serious as a judge. I'm the man who loves you and your mother, I said. That makes me your father in all the ways that matter. He thought about that, nodded. Good. I like having you for a father. We lived like that for 15 years, partner. 15 years of peace in a land that didn't know much about peace. We faced droughts and floods, harsh winters and scorching summers. But we faced them together. Ayana and I never did get properly married. No preacher would wed a white man and an Apache woman in those days. But we didn't need words on paper to know we belonged to each other. Some nights, lying in our bed with her head on my chest, listening to Joey practice his reading in the next room, I'd think about all the roads that led me to that moment. All the blood, all the pain, all the mistakes. Worth it. Every damn bit of it was worth it. Joey grew up and went east for schooling, came back a lawyer, married a nice girl from town, gave us grandchildren who called me grandfather, and never asked why I looked different from them. Love doesn't see color, partner. It just sees hearts that fit together. I'm an old man now. Ayana's hair is silver, lines around her eyes that come from laughing at my bad jokes for 30 years. But when she looks at me across the dinner table, I still see that proud, beautiful woman I found in the snow. Sometimes at night, when the wind's just right, I swear I can hear Iron Wolf's voice in the canyon, speaking Apache words I don't understand. But I think he's saying thank you. Thank you for loving his woman, raising his son, giving them both a life worth living. People ask me sometimes if I regret it, giving up the cavalry life for an Apache woman and a child who wasn't mine by blood. I tell them regret's a luxury I can't afford. I made my choice in the snow that December night, and I've lived with the consequences every day since. Some consequences are blessings in disguise, stranger. Sometimes the thing you think will destroy you is the thing that saves you. So that's my story, partner. The tale of how I learned that love doesn't ask permission, doesn't follow rules, doesn't care about the color of your skin or the language you speak. It just shows up in the snow one night and changes everything. If this old cowboy's tale struck a chord with you, I'd be grateful if you'd hit that like button and let me know in the comments where you're writing from. Got plenty more stories from the frontier, and I'm always happy to share them with folks who appreciate a good yarn. Until next time, may your trails be clear and your water sweet.